Whoever's live broadcast that initially seemed casual and unplanned slowly turned into one of the most human and emotional moments in BTS's history. It began with a simple greeting, "Happy birthday, Taehyung," followed by light conversation that gradually unfolded into honesty, exhaustion, laughter, and quiet prayers that were never meant to sound dramatic. At the start of the broadcast, small jokes filled the room. Someone mentioned ordering every film available. Another talked about climbing up to the rooftop while one member stayed a floor below. The birthday wishes came as they always did. Spontaneous, messy, yet warm. There was laughter mixed with tiredness, and someone repeatedly saying, "Enough, enough, enough," as if trying to calm the small chaos without extinguishing the warmth it carried. Taehyung accepted the greetings with a sincere smile, but the mood subtly shifted when it was mentioned that Suga was unwell. Even the simplest moments, bringing out the birthday cake or asking whether the video should be uploaded later, felt less like a broadcast and more like a family interaction. When someone softly said, "Sing it again, happy birthday," the room fell into an imperfect silence, and that imperfection was exactly what made the moment feel real. After the singing ended, the lively energy slowly dissolved into a silence filled with meaning. The members began talking about the new year, their hopes, and wishes they had not yet voiced. Jungkook was mentioned as still not having shared his wish, creating a pause that spoke louder than words. There were no grand stages or dramatic lighting, just one room, one camera, and 6 voices supporting one another. They joked about the family photo they didn't manage to take this year, laughing softly when someone suggested a screenshot would be enough, as if that could fill the empty space left behind. Random jokes about small promotions, 333, cows, and goats sounded like private codes meant only for them. Amid their exhaustion, there was an unspoken agreement that no matter what form it takes, their journey is not over. Before the camera shut off, a gentle voice, almost like a prayer, was heard. "Thank you for being with us today. Take care of yourselves. This year, let's do our best together." There was no dramatic farewell, no background music. Just a dark screen and silence filled with unspoken emotions. After that darkness, the truest moment emerged. Chairs slid back, footsteps moved slowly, and a whisper, like a secret, was heard. "Tomorrow will be different." Another voice followed quietly, saying, "Whatever happens, we stay together. Even if the way changes, even if the steps are slow." These words were not meant for the camera or the audience. They were for each other. As they left the room, the cold air outside felt like reality waiting for them. Their steps were not synchronized. One lowered his head, another smiled faintly, and another took a blurry photo, afraid the moment might slip away like a dream. The imperfection of that photo became proof that happiness doesn't need to be neat to be real. Someone said softly, "One day, we have to retake that picture. A better one. A complete one." It was a simple sentence, yet it carried a long-held hope, belief in tomorrows that still exist. Just before the door closed, one final line tied the entire broadcast together. "Stay there with us. All right? We'll stay here too." No name was spoken, but everyone knew who it was for: ARMY, the viewers, and the unseen future still worth believing in. The broadcast didn't end as a goodbye, but as a continuation. That night proved it wasn't the end, only the beginning of a new chapter. After the live ended, the real story began. On social media, clips spread quietly, not through clickbait or manufactured drama, but through fragments of trembling voices, tired smiles, and laughter that felt like home. Viewers responded in different ways. Some celebrated the warmth, some realized how quickly time passes, and others fell silent, unsure of what to feel except deeply moved. The broadcast didn't show BTS as global superstars, but as human beings learning to endure, grow, and care for one another through a journey that is still ongoing. The members left the room one by one, not in perfect formation or confident strides like on stage, but slowly, as if weighing the emotions left behind. One gave a gentle pat on a shoulder. Another took a deep breath, hiding his fatigue so it wouldn't burden the others. Someone turned back briefly, not to perform, but to ensure the connection remained, even though the screen was already dark. building lights flickered like unfinished memories. Without microphones, they spoke about small plans for tomorrow, practice schedules, and an uncertain future still worth facing together. No one openly admitted fear, but the way they checked on each other, with brief glances and subtle nods, was enough to show it existed, and that they chose not to face it alone. One smiled, not out of happiness but relief, and said quietly, "We don't have to be perfect, we just have to stay here." That sentence underlined the entire night. It wasn't about glamour or achievements, but about staying, about protecting the family they built inside that room and beyond the screen. Hours later, calm discussions surfaced online. Viewers felt that something had shifted, describing the broadcast as a turning point. A chapter closing without words, leaving the next page blank. Media outlets cautiously reflected on the moment, calling it a reminder that behind the global spotlight are men carrying the weight of the future. International fans described it as the most human broadcast they had ever seen. Not because of drama, but because of honesty. Once again, the untaken family photo became a symbol, a quiet promise that they still want to try again, together. By nightfall, the building was dark, but the moment continued to glow in the hearts of those who watched. No major announcements were made. No clear answers were given. Yet within that uncertainty, hope quietly grew.